Welcome everyone. We're super excited about starting with the first session in Nala's AI and HR learning path. So this is something that we thought about as we were participating in HR Tech a couple of weeks ago in Vegas. So everything about the conference was about technology and AI and the impact. And we realized that not only a lot of companies there, but a lot of our clients, they just wanted to get more safe space where they can learn a bit about AI, understand different user cases, and just get a better understanding of how CEOs are seeing the issue, how they could lead initiatives in their companies. And that's why we created this learning path. So every session, our goal is that you guys live with at least one key concept around AI that will give you the basic literacy to be in these meetings and just to understand how you can connect this with the work that you guys have been doing. We're gonna talk about business impact and just very explicit examples on how AI it's already changing, not just how we work personally with tools, but how work is organized and how companies grow and how business is going to be made. Every session we're going to have an HR use case, and we're gonna help you learn about how to apply AI, showing you one of Nala's capability so that you can see how something that you have been doing in a way for the last years, maybe now it's time to do it differently. And of course, throughout the session, there's you can always ask questions, just either send them directly or in the chat, and we'll be happy to talk about them throughout the session. So as we start, the first thing that I want to start with is the why. So before we go into AI and technology and all of that, I just want to share, this is a very strong belief at Nala. We believe, we're convinced that strong cultures are those that attract and engage talent in a consistent and scalable way, and that's the actual foundation for a resilient company. So within today's context, even more, as a company, and this has nothing to do with AI, we always need to be thinking, how can we create a company that attracts and engages talent at scale, ongoing, and that's part of the culture. So in Nala, a talent-first culture would be a culture where it's a workplace where people want to stay and leaders inspire growth. So for Nala, leadership is extremely important. And remember that we're talking about a talent-first culture. So we're thinking about making sure top talent comes and stays and they're happy and thriving. The second variable is high-performance environments. Top talent, they want to be within companies and teams where they challenge, when they get support, they like results, and they're not necessarily excited about doing other people's job. So the high performance mentality is very important for them, and at least they like to grow. So opportunities and mobility. So they want to be in an organization that it's ready to invest in their growth. And this is I think it's a word that everybody's using this day. Oh, how are we becoming a future-ready organization? And as we think about how we make sure our company it's future-ready, I just want to start with part of the context that was discussed at HR Tech, and because this is where we stand right now. So historically, we are experiencing the highest disengagement numbers in years, and this is a trend. There is what they call a career path crisis, and this does not mean that we need to create a career for everybody. It's just that people literally don't know what's their path with all of the changes and all of the apparent threats that are out there. So there's a crisis. Even though we're more communicated than ever, there's a lack of connection. So connections are very important for human beings, and they're also important within the workplace context. And care. People want to be in a company that they feel like they care for them, that their leader cares for them, their team cares for them. And there's a big thing around employee experience. And the employee experience piece, we need to be mindful that, and I think everyone can relate to this, when we think about employee experience with the level of hyper-connectivity that we have today, it goes beyond what we're doing at work. This is how employees expect companies to adapt their policies and system so that they can have a balanced life. So it's sometimes experience around how they're being paid, the flexibility they have, if they have other things that they would like to be able to do without so much trouble, And the other thing is, because of all the new technologies, every time we implement a new software, a new solution, anything in our company, it impacts literally every minute of the work, because it's our employees that are using that technology. So this is the reality right now. And of course, we're seeing new technologies transforming how we live and work at an unprecedented pace. And it used to be that these disruptions usually would take 7 to 10 years to just fully take over the way things were done. With AI, it's been 1/3 of that. So a lot of companies in a year, even in 3 years, they're experiencing change, and it's very hard to keep up, especially if you're maybe a more established company, maybe a more traditional culture where this is going just too fast. And we have to remind ourselves that innovation creates both excitement and fear. And when we're thinking about our employees, and especially our managers who are leading the transformation, we want them to be excited. We don't want them making decisions out of fear. So we need to be mindful about this, understanding that innovation creates both. And we might be super excited about a change that's coming, about a new tool, but there might be people in our team that are actually experiencing fear. And again, going back to decision making, we don't want our managers making decisions out of fear. So this slide, it's just a grounding slide, just to, okay, we're talking about doing things so we're a future ready organization, but where do our people stand on? How are they feeling? What are the things that are happening? And we need to address those in order to succeed. Let's talk about what employees need from others, from senior leadership and from HR and leaders. So I don't think there's ever been a time where it's been more crucial that people get clarity on vision and strategy, because at the end of the day, it's not the CEO, it's not the executive team that's going to drive the transformation, it's managers and their team. And today, what we're seeing is that a lot of people in senior leadership positions, they don't have clarity on the vision and strategy. So it's extremely hard to make sure that people are thriving in the change, because there's not a clear vision and strategy. And then when an employee sees their manager, they're expecting new things. They expect managers to create an environment where there's trust. It's HR and managers the one introducing new technology. So employees also expect to get the training so that they're going to be able to adapt and do their work properly. And they expect managers to be the ones balancing the tech component with care. And this goes back to employee experience. We can have a lot of things, but if we have a disengaged workforce, if we have people with fear, if we have managers that don't have clarity on where we're going, it's literally impossible for that organization to make it through the changes. And if you get one thing out of this presentation, it would be this sentence. Okay, future ready organizations are built on trust and technology. So you need trust and technology, but it's only when they're paired with great leaders that they create the foundation for lasting success. So it doesn't matter if we're in the world of AI and modern society, leaders remain a key lever, a key stakeholder within the scope of what we're doing from HR. And this is why at NALA, we're so passionate about NALA becoming that partner, so that HR can lead leadership development, but so that also leaders can make better decisions, because they're the ones making the change. And today I'm very excited because we have a special guest here. So his name is Daniel. Daniel is NALA's CTO. Before joining NALA a couple of years ago, he spent over 15 years in South Korea, helping Hyundai Motor Group identify, implement at scale AI operations and efficiencies projects. He's a master's in industrial engineer. He's an expert in AI applied to industrial processes. He's the current CTO at NALA, where he co-leads with the rest of the C-level team our AI strategy, which is basically how is our AI infrastructure and governance? How do we make sure that our team, we create a safe environment, we have the best people, but we also give them the tools so that we can get to the hyper performance level. And then, of course, NALA itself, how we are incorporating the latest findings in AI so that NALA can become that true HR partner for our clients. And my invitation to you today, Daniel thinks like your CTOs, like your CIOs. And I know a lot of the time there's not a lot of agreement between HR and technology, but I don't think that going away. Actually, we see it working more and more together. We get more and more meetings with CIOs, CTOs that are very involved in anything that has to do with AI infrastructure or models as they're being applied. So take Daniel as somebody that you can maybe ask questions and just try to get a better understanding of how CTOs think and what they're worried about and why they think the way they do. So Daniel, I'm going to give it to you. We're going to start with our first AI learning capsule. So I'm going to share the screen and you can let me know when I move to the next screen.
So hello everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I would first like to start because I know that all this talk of how fast everything is moving forward and how a new thing is coming out every day, that this creates lots of anxiety or in some people because they don't know how to keep up. So I always like to ground the concepts a little so we have a general understanding. I group what we understand for AI in three different groups, as you can see here. What I call classic AI is everything we knew about AI before ChatGPT came out. The classic AI, I mean, everything, all the big talks about machine learning, everything that we knew before, big data, predictive models, everything before ChatGPT, so to speak. So classic AI are, as it says here, it's AI that processes numerical data, and it's used for classification and prediction. For example, for risk scores, churn models, we have our own models in Nala that still just use like a classic AI, so mathematical models. That type of AI, it's equivalent basically to a simple calculator, so to speak. Then we got the Gen AI. Gen AI started doing the rounds in news with image generation. And then it became really mainstream with ChatGPT and on 2023, the beginning of 2023. Gen AI or generative AI, it's an AI that can create new content, create text, images, code to draft emails, make reports, make images or designs. That works like a co-author because it's what we all know right now, starting with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, etc., etc. And now we also have agents, agentic AI, and then we have the era of agents. Everybody's talking about agentic AI. And agents, it's nothing more, just like you can see there in the picture. It's like you grab a model of Gen AI that it's equivalent. Oh, sorry, I missed that step. It's equivalent. If classic AI is a basic calculator, Gen AI is basically a very powerful scientific graphical calculator. And the agentic AI, it's nothing more than having ChatGPT and give it access to tools. Actually, when you code, when you work in designing and coding the AI agents, they are called tools. So you give a tool to ChatGPT to access your calendar. You give a tool to ChatGPT to access your email or to access company software. That's what it's referred to with agentic AI.
Yes. And sorry, just to add to that, and this was a big topic during HR Tech. Agentic, it's also it's an AI that sometimes even has the ability to understand the need. It takes an action in systems with less level of human supervision. It needs to be supervised, but they can just run full workflows. And this is a lot of what you're seeing as new features and new things. And agentic AI now it's a big thing, but like Daniel was saying, it's basically today with some of the AIs that are available, it's giving them access and just letting them know what it is that you need them to do. It's just that a lot of companies or softwares are achieving that even without you telling them what to do. They're able to run the processes by themselves. Now, Dan, if you could, I just switched the slide. If you could talk a bit about layers of working with AI.
Yeah, so in every company, when we want to start working with AI, many people don't know where to start or how to organize what to do. And I always tell them, and actually, or well, you can look it up with AI. You have 4 layers or 4 steps that you need to understand of how to work or incorporate AI in company workflows. The first layer is the layer of the engine, the foundational model. The foundational model is the version of which model are you going to be using to work in your company. And people need to understand that different models are better equipped, are better programmed or trained to work with different things. The foundational model would be, for example, ChatGPT 3.5 or 4 or ChatGPT 4.0, 03. I know that you've heard different versions of models and people get confused with what they are. Could be Gemini 2.5, Claude, etc. That's the first layer of working with AI. Decide which model do you want to use. Most modern models, they are good for everything, but in most cases they could be overkill or they could be too expensive and not necessary for the tasks that you want to use. So using just the latest model is not always the best option. After you have a model decided for the task at hand, you need to connect the model with your company knowledge base. So you need to define which knowledge base do you want to give access to your model. That's why I put there to connecting the engine to your company. So bridge that brings the company policies and the internal data of your company to the model. So the model gives answers that are relevant to you and that are appropriate to your situation. Because even if we assume that a new model, ChatGPT 7, is perfect, but there is not one truth. So what is valid in some contexts for some people in some companies is not valid for others. So that's why it's always important to know how to give it the context it needs. The third layer, the third steps is it's how we decide how we connect the tools and actions that we want to use. So we need to, that's where the IT team comes. We need to program the interfaces of what the model with the knowledge, what do we want it to do? If we only wanted to give me text as an output like ChatGPT.com does, then that's all I need. But if I wanted to take the decision based on information, is check my emails and my calendar as is there, go to HubSpot and make some, I don't know, inference with data. I need to make those connections. I will need to make those the software that connects my HR software with the engine, with the model that's running. And the fourth and most important step, and this is something that comes across as really there's no standard or how it's the best practice to implement this, but we need to have like the crossing guard. Is the direction and safety. We need to set up the lanes for the model to execute a workflow, and we need to know where to put the traffic lights to stop the model from doing all the, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen the errors that Microsoft and Apple Intelligence have made with the models they have released, the application of the models they have released that have made very big mistakes and huge errors. So we need to define the workflow permissions and I mean, you need to have supervision. Yeah, because they cannot work 100% by themselves. I mean, from start to finish.
And Daniel, just to complement that, so isn't this point sometimes where we see a lot of friction between HR and technology? So technology is the one responsible for eventually defining these lanes and traffic lights. And like Daniel was saying, there's not best practice yet. So every company is trying to just adjust. So that's why it's important to work together. Again, if you're going to bring AI, it's in order to improve your employee experience, to be more efficient, to create something good. But if we're not following certain rules, eventually the impact could be very, very negative. And I think as more as we talk with other teams, we understand more where their fear is coming from, and that will also give you insights on how AI actually works and why it is that sometimes they don't approve anything, because that's what happens sometimes.
Yes.
And here Daniel is going to share, like, again, using these two layers, autonomy and complexity, the different types of examples, and we're using very common known HR things so that it's very easy to make the connection. And so Daniel, again, back to you.
Thank you. So people always want to know, all right, I know that AI is great, AI can do many, many things, but how can it help me in my day-to-day workflow, during my task, what I do? And I think you can once again divide that in three different levels that vary in complexity and in autonomy. The easiest level, that the one with the least complexity, it's like a plus version of an interpreter. Use it for like the original classic AIs that we used before, but only, I don't know, the data science people use them for interpretation of data and prediction. Now, the interpreter plus would be equivalent to just using ChatGPT on the website, or Gemini or Claude, because you can give it text, and with the right prompt or with the right security infrastructure, you can give it information of the company, and, for example, I don't know, get a really good summary of a big report, synthesize employee sentiment. One of the first challenges that we solved really well in NALAB is when you do a survey. In most cases, in most companies that I've seen, in many occasions, nobody really reads all the comments of all the employees if the company is very big. So it's like a selective reading, and finding specific topics that need to be addressed can be really efficiently made with AI that reads your comments and gives you a synthesis of the sentiment or special cases in the engagement surveys, for example. And then classify resumes based on an explicit criteria to categorize textual data directly. And of course, as always, I've known you've seen, maybe you've heard of news of, I don't know, bias in AI and all the bad uses that you can get with that. But that's a problem when you give the AI full autonomy until the end of the workflow. This is why I put this in the beginning, because this has low autonomy. This is for you to synthesize the text, and you need to be able to understand and interpret the result. The second level is when you jump to the co-author stage, that has a little more complexity, both in implementation and also in making sure that you are not going over security and privacy concerns. It's when you have an AI, for example, Copilot now can be within Microsoft Word, for example, and it can help you like write your reports, draft job descriptions, profiles, design onboarding plans, build personalized learning paths with information from each employee. This has a little more autonomy because you get a final report or whatever final presentation that you need to present. But you need to be careful, and once again treat this as drafts that you need to review. but it can really help move along processes that would take a long time otherwise. And the third case is the final case, is when it's the deputy. I say, well, this is the agent. Once you have your AI and you connect it with your software, you can have AI that coordinate interviews, checks calendars, and sends invitations, that reads the email and the calendar and HubSpot or whatever software you have. And it can also, I don't know, reply to certain emails with certain criteria, and well, do that work for you. Here it says launch engagement surveys, notify leaders, send notifications, suggest tailored development plans, link to when you connect it with the data of, I don't know, of the results of your processes within the company. All that. There are many ways these agents are deployed in many companies nowadays, but everyone is still experimenting. And as Hina said, there's still no standardized best practice, but that's why we need to worry about here the fourth layer that I mentioned before, of security and privacy and supervision of these workflows. Back to you, Hina.
So when we're using these examples, and we try to make it so that you can, for starters, hopefully get excited and just start using it on like things that you're probably doing or your teams are doing. And a lot of the companies are already releasing AI tools to their, like Daniel was saying, everybody that has Microsoft, companies are paying a lot so that they can have Copilot. And there's been some issues around adoption. So we want to encourage you to use them and just see how they can maybe work for you. But now going back to like the HR decision part, the main thing here is to understand that when you guys are thinking about the future and the tools and the skills and the initiatives, it's understanding that depending on the issue, you might need a different type of AI. And also depending on the issue, you might want more or less autonomy, and you'll be willing or not to invest in a more complex AI. A lot of the companies are facing the decision right now to really, once they have a clear vision, prioritize in what areas they're just going to look for the AI from outside vendors, and in what areas they are intentionally investing internally so that they can develop the deputy. Or in other areas, they're going to hire the deputy from another team that already has an expertise. And the word user case is extremely important. Maybe you've seen it. It's whenever you are thinking about an initiative, it's important to have a user case in mind. It would allow you to really understand the investment required and what would the potential impact, and why do you think it's important that you do that with AI and not maybe as you have been doing it so far. And it will help build the case. So I would definitely encourage you to look for those HR use cases where you think, as you connect some of these concepts we are talking with challenges that your team is facing right now. So we're going to connect this a bit with Nala. So Nala is a software, and when we work with clients, they hire us and they can activate different modules. And what we're seeing so far is that a lot of companies, they have these processes you're seeing. They're very independent from one another. Sometimes they're even in different platforms. Sometimes they run from different teams. And how we see this changing is that eventually AIs like Nala, they will be able to not just run, analyze, and create the reporting for different processes at the same time. They're going to be able to monitor, guide, advise, and alert different stakeholders within the company and at scale. So when we think about Nala, we're thinking, how can we continue to make sure that Nala helps our clients check as many boxes as possible so that they can minimize heavy lifting and manual work? And how can we make sure that Ana is the right tool so that Nala can be of use for the C-level, for the HR team, for leadership, and for employees? So when we think about HR in the AI world, and again, this is very into HR, there's three things that I want you to have in mind. And three areas that this is part of what's concerning right now for the C-level. And hopefully with the slides, you're going to get a better understanding of what is being talked in boards and at a C-level. The first thing would be workforce planning, then talent optimization, and then leadership role. So if you're not involved somehow in ensuring the right people is with the right skills and in the right place at the right time, you might not be in the right space right now within what's critical for the organization. This is something the company needs HR to be fully aligned with. Talent optimization is, okay, once you have the right people with the right skills in the right place, how do we make sure we're getting we're maximizing their strengths, we're giving them the right tools, we're providing an environment that's going to maximize their impact. And then last but not least, how are we working with leadership, helping them connect the vision with the strategy, and being that connection between the people that work in their teams, the culture, and the purpose of the company. And I say key areas to focus on. It's because when we talk with CEOs, when we see what's happening on a board level, it's important for HR to know that it's not an if we're going to do this or not. It's not optional. There's I believe that it's already reshaping organizational design, cost structures, and competitiveness. So you might find a lot of CEOs being very pressed by their boards. Hey, how are you using AI? When are you using AI? When are you going to show it? And sometimes it reflects on the expectations that there are going to be layoffs. Sometimes it's just they really want to understand what's the path. Workforce strategy is now a C-suite and a board priority. It's all they talk about because they know that with all of the changes that are happening, how we plan for the workforce needs to change. And the main question they're asking all the time is, where and how can AI take over roles or tasks? And how do we reset the business and the organization and our people? So from an HR, you want to be an active participant in this discussion. And ways that you could help the company. It's, for example, are you able right now to help them map the impact? Identifying which roles, tasks, and teams will evolve with AI so that you can plan that roadmap as you transition. Design transitions. So we're talking about redeployment, reskilling, upskilling. That's a huge investment, and you don't want to do it without the knowledge. So it means that somebody is going to be designing this transition. The question, is it going to be HR or is it going to be another area? We're talking about huge investments in technology, in infrastructure, in knowledge. So it's important that HR learns how to structure these deals. That's why I encourage you to work very closely with technology, because this is not what HR is used to investing in. HR is usually a cost center, and it's all about bringing costs down. Right now, you are on the front of one of the biggest challenges where companies are taking a lot of risk and they're going to be investing a lot of money. So you need to have an ROI mindset and be very intentional about where you put your resources so that you will get the impact that you're expecting. And of course, safeguard culture. Ensure that change doesn't create places where people are scared, where there's no trust, where there's lack of engagement, because again, we know people is what's going to drive the change. And advise leaders. We all know that leaders are the ones. So again, when I say here, it's what they need HR to do. I put HR here because we're seeing more and more a shift in the HR role. So these 5 bullet points it's not that HR, if HR takes the lead, HR will be leading this transition. If not, somebody else in the organization is going to be taking the role. And again, AI or partners like Nala, like others, we can be there for you, helping you lead the change. What you're going to see here, and I'm going to ask for some input on Dani as well, is it's a very, very simple. Don't take this as the truth. Okay, it's just an example. I would love for you to do this with your companies of how a normal company might evolve in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years. From an org structure perspective, where we start with human-led teams with AI copilots, and we end up with many functions fully AI operated, and with project staffing happening via internal talent marketplaces that combine human and AI. When we see a very a very quick change in terms of what's expected from a leader, in terms of outcomes, some emerging skills that are new to the book, and some faded skills that have been very important for the last 20 years. And for me, the most amazing one is the different intelligences types that are going to be involved within the context. And again, this is happening in the workforce. We've seen this happen. We, even if you don't believe me, you do a lot of these things in other places outside of work. So I would like to bring Daniel into the conversation and just talk a little bit about those emerging skills that he thinks have been, well, helpful in his case to drive AI initiatives. But now it's not just going to be the CTOs or the AI consultant, it's going to be basically every leader. So Danny, if you could elaborate a bit more around what's AI literacy, what's this human AI integration, why is it relevant, why is it important in this new AI era?
Thanks, Jime. Yes, I used to hear a lot about the importance of the problem solving skill, and for me, this is like the most representative shift is that with agentic AI and with everything we are able to do nowadays, and everyone will be able to do like easily in the near future, it's that more than problem solving, it's problem framing. That is going to be, and well, is nowadays in many places one of the most important skills. It's to be able to translate complex business or people challenges into clear, actionable questions for AI or for an AI agent to solve. To reach this problem framing skill is you get this list here, AI literacy, because it's understanding what are the capabilities of the AI models that we have, or what are the constraints, what are the things they cannot do, or what are the things that if I ask it will tell me, but it's what we call hallucinations, for example. Most people, most people like me, I was going to say, people who work with AI all the time can immediately know when something can produce an hallucination, and there are many people that know that because they understand what AI is doing. Then the human AI integration, we need people who can design. One thing is problem framing, and once you frame your problem, you need to be able to design the problem with the AI in mind, a workflow that knowing all the tools that your agents, all the actions that the agents at your disposal can do. How do you design a workflow that has all the checks and balances and privacy and security in mind to solve what you're doing? And then that's how we get in the end. Jime wrote there: storytelling, foresight, ethical stewardship, and culture design. Everything goes to being able to see the big picture of the problem solving skill, that now becomes the problem framing, workflow design, understanding what our AI agents can do.
And the other thing, just to complement what Danny's saying, like if you go in that 5 years framework, like the autonomous company, like there's a few, and again, these are just potential scenarios. This is not the truth. We just want you to think out of the box, where we're going to have leaders that are going to be tasked with projects, with problems, and they're going to be creating their own teams within a mix with people and AI. So a lot of it, like what we see on some games, like Daniel was sharing with me before this. So for those who are gamers, like it's very common that you create your team with a mix between people and AI. The thing right now is everything that we're seeing here, it's something that first, it's happening more like on an individual level. On the HR challenge, the task here at hand is that we are thinking about this for a whole company. So it's how can we help the C-level get to those different stages, and how if in 3 more years we think we're going to have hybrid pods, okay, so those AI job holders, where do we think they're going to be? How do we start working towards getting them there? How do we train our people? And how do we make sure leaders adapt for this new stage? And then if we're thinking about those areas that we would love to have fully AI operated in a couple of years, okay, where are those areas? What's going to be the plan? And again, because there's people involved here. And these emerging skills and these fading skills, what it's very interesting to me, it's at the pace they're happening. And again, where the challenge is going to be, this is not going to be teaching a Daniel how to learn about human AI integration, because we're talking about every leader in the company being required or ideally being fluent or at least having the skills or having the potential to develop these skills. So it's a whole new rule. And especially as you also check the feigning skills part, where gut only decision making, where being an expert in everything, and where operational management, things that have been very important in the past years, are gonna become less important because there's going to be a change in role. So that's going to be interesting. I just want to go back to the first phrase that I said. Future ready organizations are built on trust. We don't need to, we can't forget that. And technology. Technology is here to stay. We need to embrace it. When paired with great leaders, that's what's going to create the foundation for lasting success. So any initiatives that's going towards leadership development, it's something that it's aligned with having a future ready organization. So now I'm going to give the word to Mafe. I'm not sure if Cami, please let me know if she can do it or not, but we're going to just show you one user case. Cami, before you take me out, let me just explain this and then you put Mafe in. It's going to be on leadership development specifically. That's the user case we said we were going to share today. And we're going to show you how Nala, today's version of Nala, can help you on the HR side, run, analyze, report, and monitor some leadership development initiatives, and at the same time, guide, advise, and alert leaders in the company with information that's relevant on their team, on their top talent, on their attrition risk, in a way that's seamless and does not create extra work for HR, just so that you get an idea of how this works and how you guys might be working these topics in a more agile and efficient way. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm not sure, Cami, if...
Hi, Mafe. We can hear you and see you. Welcome. Yeah. No, I think we cannot hear you. We can see you. Let me do something, but
I think now you can hear me?
Yeah, now.
Yes, you're good.
I hate when they do this. I can't hear you, but it's just 1 second. Every time that we transition from one to another, it disconnects. And you hear me?
Yes,
Daniel says
hear
yes, because I see Daniel. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, I'm going to do it, even though I can't hear you, both of you. But I hope it works. I'm going to try one last thing before built-in to see if maybe built-in. I'm going to show you how in Nala we are incorporating a little bit of what Daniel and Jimena were talking about. So I think now you can see Nala. This is Nala. Yes? Yes, Daniel is saying yes. So This is Nala, and basically, I'm going to take you over here in the top. I'm here as a manager. I'm Bruno. That he's managing a team, and every time that a manager goes into Nala, the most common thing that they do is to look on their team. What is happening with their team? Is everything okay? So when I open here the team that I'm leading, the first thing that I see like that draws my attention is that Esmeralda, one of my top performers, it's in a high attrition risk. So I want to know why she's in a high attrition risk. And when I go to her profile, I can see that not only she has a high risk of leaving the company, but I can have like an understanding of why she could leave. And Nala gives me some advice of what can I do with this person, understanding that Nala already knows like Esmeralda, her track, like for how long she has been in the company, how is her performance, how is the engagement of the team. So with all of this in consideration, what Nala does is taking all of the information that already has in the platform and guide your managers towards simple actions that they could do to make feel Esmeralda more willing to be on the team. So this is one of the things that we always like encourage, like we can make this possible in Nala because you as HR partners are gathering all of the information and all of your process, like every time that you do a performance process, a talent grid, I don't know, a engagement a survey, all of this is going to give us all the data so that we can then advise Bruno what he can do with his team. And also, if he goes into his profile, he can see as well, like what does he have to work in. So, for example, when I see here in my profile, I know that I'm having a good performance. I have my goals. Everything is going okay. My action plans, I already have done all of them. Maybe the only thing that I could be a little bit worried that I could work with is my leadership skills, because what I can see here is that my team, that I told you I have a large team, the engagement of my team, or the loyalty, the KPI that is like most important for me, that is the ENPS, it's very low right now. The voluntary turnover is high. So what I will do next is to see what are the key skills that I need to develop. And I can come here and see, okay, these are the skills that for the company are important that I should have developed. And I can see like in all of them, what are the specific topics that my team is asking me to improve. So all of this is like trying to guide the manager into what he can improve, how can he manage his team. If I want to have like a more broader analysis from my team, I not only need to go into each one of the profiles, but I could go like for the whole team. And in the whole team, I could see like which ones have like the higher risk of leaving, what are the reasons, as I show you in Esmeralda. And every day, like with Daniel, what we are most thinking of right now is how can we create like more actions and advices, and like every time that a manager comes here into Nala, the idea is that he doesn't have to look a lot, but Nala immediately like try to invite them into actions and things that they could do so he can improve the experience. And I think, Cami, that the time is going out and we need to bring back Jimena. But what we dream about Nala in the future is that we hope that managers come here into Nala and just ask Nala what is the important thing that they have to do today regarding their team, and Nala advise them what they have to do. I'm going to stop sharing, Cami, and
Okay, so I'm gonna bring
and Daniel
me
is
back,
saying
right?
bye, but I don't know why.
I'm bringing him in a back.
No, I was saying
Everyone.
bye to Mafe.
So we lost Mafe. We lost Mafe.
Yeah.
But I just want to very quickly just share another part. So like Mafe was saying, and I just want to go back to the slide. So how are we thinking about this? And as you can see today, Nala has a lot of things that you could do in the system. So the first part, the fact that one agent can help you run, analyze, and report on different processes in the same place, that's already happening. The system is already monitoring KPIs, guiding, advising, and alerting HR and leadership. Our goal is that we improve that user experience. We want it to be very user-friendly, and we want Nala to be a tool that HR teams can trust, that it's gonna improve their employee experience, it's gonna help each stakeholder get what they need from the information so that they can focus on the culture, working with the leadership, working on executing those initiatives that are getting prioritized. As an agent like Nala takes over the more the heavy lifting, the more repetitive tasks, the more the analytical piece, and it becomes that partner. So for everyone that was here, you're gonna get the recording, you're gonna get the slides. You can use them. You can use it for whatever you want, and you can also go into Nala demo. So you're gonna have the demo access, and you can go as an admin. That was the profile Mafe was sharing, as a manager or as an employee, and just play around, just get a look and feel of how Nala is, how you navigate it, what are the things that you can do. And last but not least, I just want to make sure everybody knows this is just the first session of 4 Nala's AI and HR learning path sessions. Next week, we're going to be talking about skills and how AI can help leaders bridge gaps within their teams as they adapt in what we were talking right now, an organization that's going to be an ongoing evolution on who is actually in their teams. Is it going to be AI? Is it going to be people? So please share this. Next week, hopefully, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to have Daniel or not. He has a very busy travel schedule for the following weeks. But we just want to share with everyone what we've been learning. We hope this gets you excited about AI. If you're looking to talk about this with somebody, if you want a partner, please do reach out. We'll be more than happy just to have a one-on-one and see how we can help you face this new stage so that your HR team becomes critical in the organization and you're a protagonist in the transformation that companies are experiencing right now, keeping the people at the center. So bye, everyone. Have a really good, this has nothing to do with this. Have a very good Friday, and we'll be in touch.